was brought to my attention that some of you people actually look forward to this nonsense. I was like, uh-oh, yeah, don't build it up. So I was getting a bit worried. My friend Bill O'Shea says, I've got 3 words for you, Rossa. Don't fuck it up. It's like, it's 4, Bill, but thanks, yeah. It's better than Olga and Michelle, who said, if you don't do it well, we'll kick the shit out of you. So, you know. Anyway, why am I here? Yeah, why, right? So I want to talk about why I'm here. You might be thinking the same thing. Why? Director, Sigmar, yeah. I've got a theory I'd like to share with you, and my theory is going to help you achieve your business objectives, yep. It's going to help you keep the people you want to keep, yep. And it's going to also get the right people working for you. Does that sound good? Yeah, are we all positive about that? Good, because I've got some distressing news. You all suck at selling, right? You're all terrible. All of you. Silence, yeah, no I'm not. We're not great at selling in the talent community anymore. We're not. But we expect candidates to be all the time. We expect a candidate to walk into us and to blow us away and to answer questions like this. Sell me this pen. Ever been asked that question at an interview? Anyone ever ask it? Robbie, yeah, looking at you, cringe. It's not great, like, you know. Now, I'm not saying that we're hypocrites, but we definitely don't attach the same kind of standards of selling to ourselves as we do to candidates. And we do, when we think about ourselves as selling our organizations and selling our work and selling our why, we're not as good as we think we are. We're not. And I'll give you an example of this. And this is a real example, so I hope the people who work in this company aren't in the room, because this is an ad from LinkedIn. I obviously took the name of the company off it. But take a look at it. Manager sales, right? What you'll do, you'll motivate a team, blah, blah, blah. You are experienced, blah, blah, blah. This is the selling part, the benefits. High income earning opportunities. You might be able to earn some money. And look at this, an inclusive company culture, as opposed to the cliquey bullshit company culture that you could have joined. And last but not least, generous global benefits. Why don't you tell me what those benefits are, maybe? You know? So if that's our answer to selling, it's a terrible answer, right? And something's gone missing in the last while. And I believe I know why, right? And the why is actually the why. Now you might say, what is the why? And the why is our, and this is for my French colleagues, it's our raison d'être. It is our reason for being. It's who we are, it's who we want to be and what we want to achieve. And we've heard over the last couple of years, it has been turbulent. A lot of things have changed. COVID, the way we work, how we work, when we work, right? And it's caused chaos and it's caused conflict. And in the scramble to adopt to this new way of work, we've tried to be all things to all people. That's what we've tried to be. And the more we've tried to be all things to all people, the more we've looked the same. And we're saying the same things when we're selling ourselves. And it's a box-ticking exercise. We're big into flexibility, tick. We believe in workplace well-being, tick. And at best, we sounded the same. And at worst, it just wasn't true, right? We believe in DE&I here at White Middle Age Core. Yeah. We're passionate about it. Welcome board. Or Roscoe's fossil fuel company really gives a shit about the environment, right? So the problem is that through this turbulence, we've become lost. We've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten our why. Back to the why, right? Our why, it's a reason for being, it's our objectives, it's who we want to be. And there's 3 pillars to my theory, right? The first thing has to be that your why has to be authentic. It actually has to reflect who you are. So listen to Daryl from Ryanair yesterday. They know exactly who they are, Ryanair. They know exactly what they're doing. There's no bullshit about them. Right? They are who they are. It has to be yours. It's not, let's copy and paste and let's see what our competitors are doing. Let's put that down. Or it's a buzzword. Guess what? It's a buzzword. Let's put that on because now we look cool. Bullshit. It has to be why. The second pillar is it has to be clear. Now, anyone know who that is? Ulysses S. Grant, my favorite US president. Funnily enough, the S stands for nothing. He was poor. He was crap at most things in his life, by the way, except for winning the Civil War. But he was, what would you call it? His benefactor signed him into West Point, and it was a righto, because it wasn't a typo back then, so the S came up. Ulysses S. Grant stood for nothing, but he was too shy to change it, right? So he wasn't great at most things, bit of a drunkard, failed clerk, but when it came to the Civil War, the man knew what to do, and he got it won because he was very clear. And he had what we would call in Dublin a 40-watt individual on his general staff, someone who wasn't very bright. And people would say to him, here, Ulysses, what's the crack with your man? Because one of them, of course, had to be from Dublin, right? And Ulysses said, listen, the reason I have this guy on our staff is that if he understands my orders, then it's very clear and they'll be carried out. So it has to be clear. Now, say in your organization, you have to say to people, we want you to come in to the office, right? And they're like, Jesus, the office. It's like a curse word these days. Now, you might see my curse word cloud. You can see it's very professional. I made it myself, very proud of it. Now, when people aren't happy to go into the office, it's because they don't understand the why. And you can have them giving out about it like that. Maybe don't take a picture of that for a sec. Or you can get what's known as coffee badging. Anyone hear of this? It's a fucking joke. Coffee badging, right, apparently is a real thing. And it is when you turn up for work early in the morning to be seen by your boss with a cup of coffee. And then you deck off and work from home. That's apparently what coffee badging is. And there was an article. There's articles about this, that it's a real thing. I call bullshit. It's a myth. It's made up. Probably by a coffee company, right? But I can tell you what is true. I was talking to one of my friends. Frank was like, it was Graham. It's like, it was Graham, Frank, but that's not the point, right? I was talking to Graham and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm in the office, and guess what? There's lots of very vocal people in the office today. They've been very present because they won't see them again for a week. So there is a misunderstanding of the why there. So our 2 pillars so far. It's got to be authentic. It's got to be clear. And the last thing, it's got to be fun. Now, I'm not like, oh, work is fun. Work's not fun. Work is work. Work is hard. But there has to be some sort of enjoyment in it. And even if you have a very difficult job, you have to be able to have some sort of crack at it, right? There has to be enjoyment, because if there's not, you'll burn out. Now, don't worry about that. Don't feel bad for him. Total jerk, right? So, let me give you a very famous example when we had 2 of these pillars, but we didn't have the third. And this pains me to show you this. Everybody remember these guys. That is the 2007 Irish rugby team, right? And they had a very unique brand of rugby. They weren't trying to play like the All Blacks or Australia or England, right? So very clear, authentic. They had a very clear objective. First team ever to say they wanted to win the World Cup. Irish people never said that. They do now, but, back then, Jesus, you didn't say it. So famously said it, and they were good too. What happened was they were having zero crack. They were in an industrial estate. Apparently their hotel was in the middle of nowhere. The people started to kind of get antsy. They weren't getting on. And they famously got hammered by France and then Argentina. Now, it's not bad. That's a tough group. But it was the manner in which we lost. They were shouting at each other on the team, on the field. Don't know if you remember it. Ugly scenes. Dark days in rugby. You can even see it in that photo. And if you juxtapose it to this crowd, it's the Irish rugby team of today, right? Now, Mike said to me, well, they didn't win the World Cup either, as a proud, English rugby supporter. But the difference is, they might set history this weekend when they beat England. Yep, come on. And they could win back-to-back Six Nations. But the difference is, if you ask any of these players, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is that they love playing for Farrell. So, if we're all on board, if the message is clear, if it's authentic, and if we're having fun, everyone will get involved, and I mean everyone. Now, you might say that's a great theory, Rossa, but communism works in theory. And the reason it doesn't work in theory, because it's zero crack, right? So, let's have a look at this actually working in practice. And this is for our NASA guests here. Very famously, JFK said, we're going to go to the moon, right? Is that a clear objective? Pretty damn clear. We're going to the moon, right? Now, NASA was doing it, so was that on brand? NASA doing stuff in space? Yep. So, clear, on brand, it was work, but when they did it, everybody had fun, right? And everybody was involved, including the janitor. That's not really him. He'd be dead if he was on the moon like that. But the janitor's name apparently was Thaddeus Beaufort, I believe. Now, that's what ChatGPT tells me, so if I'm wrong, take it up. Yep. Anyway, so everybody was on board. To bring the story closer to home, last year, like in Sigmar, we've been around 20 years, right? And we've gone through turbulence, we've gone through changes in leadership, and we've lost some great people and brought some more other people on board. And last year, Frank and Mike said to me, listen, would you like to be involved in resetting who we are, in rediscovering our why? And I said, of course. How hard can it be? We pretty much know what we're going to do. We know who we are. So, myself, Frank, Mike, Elaine, Sean, Alvina, Lots of other people are going to get annoyed because I didn't mention it. We all tried to do it, and it turns out it's pretty hard. I'd often go down to Dollymount, and contemplate who we are, what we're doing, and our why. And what we came up with this. This is our why, right? Let me get serious a bit here. These are our values. Further together and with courage. And it's not a complete about-face. It's very similar to who we were, but it's probably more appropriate now. And everybody in the organization knows these values. And we award people for illustrating, for demonstrating these values. And more importantly, when we're hiring people, we sell these values and we want to hire the people who are buying into these values. We're very clear about what we expect from people. And what we want to do, we're ambitious. And that, guys, is our back garden. And it's our bars where we have the crack. Right? We want people, if they're joining us, to want to join that. We want them to want to do the work. In other words, we want them to want to do the dishes. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, The Breakup. Jennifer Aniston says, and this caused loads of arguments in my house, I don't want you to do the dishes, I want you to want to do the dishes. And of course, as a bloke, I'm Vince Vaughn going, why the f*** would I want to do that? That's terrible. But I get it now. We want people to want to do the work. We want people to want to do the dishes. And that slide is for Ruth, my better half, right? So if we can come up with our why, and we can get people to buy into our why, right, we can achieve great things. Maybe not as great as sending people to the moon. Maybe not as great as ending the Cold War, like Rocky did, right? But great things nonetheless. And Rock, we may need you back, buddy, because things have changed. And they'll always change. And if you try to discover your why, things are going to go off track. Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to get messed up. And we're not through that journey. It's not like, hey, guess what, guys? We're great and you're terrible. No, we're on our journey. We're getting there. But if you know your why, even in those dark days, it can be your guiding light. It can be your North Star. And that's how you find it, guys. You find the plow, and it'll always point you in the right direction. So if you go off-piste, your why, its clarity, its authenticity, and its crack can show you the way to go. And that's been my why, guys. 2 minutes to spare. Thank you.